That's a casket.
Don't say what? Don't say that word.
What word? Casket?
Hey everyone, Brian Zane here with my first classic pay-per-view review of the year 2023. I love this time of year. New Year's all about rebirth and new beginnings, what have you, so it's only appropriate that the first show I review this year features a man ascending out of a casket up to heaven. I'm talking about the 1994 Royal Rumble pay-per-view from January 22nd at the Providence Civic Center in Providence, Rhode Island. It's a Saturday show, the last time the Rumble would be held on a Saturday until just last year. This show is nominated by Evil Broseph on patreon.com/wrestlingwithwregret. It's the first pay-per-view on the timeline since Survivor Series 93, which I have also covered on this channel. That show was really disappointing to watch because of all the different personnel changes that happened at the last minute. Not a lot of payoffs were really seen there. Some seeds beginning to be planted in spite of all that, though, toward this time of year, and this show is going to kick things off in a real big way toward WrestleMania 10, which I've also covered. So consider this video to be bridging the gap. 14,500 folks in attendance. This show sold out well ahead of time. 200,000 pay-per-view buys is down big from 300K the previous year, but it would rebound slightly in 1995. Vince McMahon opens the show and is joined by Ted DiBiase making his debut on color commentary. He is freshly retired from in-ring competition after suffering an injury. All I'm going to say about this is I thought Papa Ted was bad, like in WCW doing commentary for the NWO show, or then later in the iGeneration pay-per-view for Robin Down Under, but man, he has never been good at color commentary. Your opening match sees Tatanka taking on not Ludwig Borga. That was the scheduled match on the evening, continuing their big rivalry they've been having since the fall of the previous year when Borga handed Tatanka his first loss in the WWF. They had a rematch on Raw a few weeks ago, ending inconclusively once Yokozuna got involved, and so this is supposed to be the big blow-off to that, but it wouldn't happen because before the show, Ludwig Borga suffered an ankle injury. He's replaced here by Bam Bigelow, and that's the end of Borga's time in the Federation. You never see him again wrestling, at least in WWF, after this point. Bigelow accompanied by his main squeeze, Luna Vachon, and they've been dealing a lot with babyface Doink as of late. He will not be involved in this match, however. Tatanka is fired up to start things off. He's got to work hard to chop down the big oak tree, hits a big leaping DDT, tries to follow up with a top rope attack, but Bigelow dodges it, goes for a top rope sunset flip later, but Bam Bam with a big sit. Bam Bam with a bear hug here. Tatanka Buffalo fighting out and hits a power slam, but there's a 2 count. I love a good double cross body collision into a double down. The war dance is thwarted by a big enziguri and Bam Bam hopping around to rub salt in the wound. I thought he was just showing off how healthy his hip was. The moonsault is missed. Tatanka comes back with a big top rope cross body and wins. This one gets 2.5 stars out of 5 for me. I thought it was an okay opener. I think it was also good when you consider what they were going up against. This was not the advertised match. Bigelow was a last-minute replacement, so there's no heat to this match whatsoever. They have nothing to do with each other leading into this show, but I think these two had a good match for what it was. The crowd was definitely into it, so you can't ask for much more than that. We get a recap of all the Hart brother drama leading into this show. It began at Survivor Series 93 when Owen was the only man from his team eliminated in the match against Shawn Michaels and his Knights. Owen gets pissed at Bret. He wants to call him out and challenge him to a match because he's tired of living in his shadow. Bret refusing to fight his brother, and soon things are just patched up between the two of them and everything feels hunky-dory. And now they're going to be challenging the Quebecers for the tag team championships. I love part of the build for this because Bret's like, you know something, Owen, I want to dedicate the rest of my career to being a tag team wrestler with you, like law, like that's never gonna happen. The Quebecers briefly lose the tag titles to Marty Jannetty and the 1-2-3 Kid on Raw. Owen's very bummed that he won't get the challenge for the belt, it seems, but then Jacques and Pierre win them back the following week at a show at Madison Square Garden, and Owen's happy again. Backstage in the promo zone, Bret is confident they're gonna win. Owen is so excited for this opportunity. He's gonna make his brother proud and will definitely not turn on him. On we go to that match now for the tag team championships as Jacques and Pierre, the Quebecers with Johnny Polo in their corner, defend against Bret and Owen Hart. Bret starting off with PCO here. Owen and Jacques begin to work later. Owen trying that backflip spot, but he puts on the brakes. They call an audible. Nice enziguri after Jacques doing some taunting. The double team attempt by the champs is thwarted. Hearts are on top until the referee is distracted, gets some cheating in the corner. Owen's attempt at helping is costing Bret in the ring. Pierre with a flying nothing, but Bret gets the boot up. Hot tag to Owen and Jacques. Owen with a sharpshooter, but Pierre breaking it up. Owen avoiding a double team with the drop kick, tagging Bret back in. in. He's hitting his moves of doom on both Quebecers. Polo with the interference on the outside, disrupting Owen's idea for a double team. The champs attack Bret's leg as Owen keeps arguing with the referee and not helping his brother out here. Gets ugly on the outside between all four men before Owen finally gets Bret back in. The Quebecers go for their double team finisher, but Bret avoids it. Instead of going for a tag though, he's able to get the sharpshooter on Pierre from a grounded position, but his knee gives out. The referee calls the match because Bret can't go on, and the Quebecers retain. Sure is nice to see the referee finally decide to exercise some judgment once in a while. Owen is upset, but hey, at least Johnny Polo's happy. Owen shouting at his brother after the match. Then he finally does the thing. I love Owen's acting here. This feeling of elation washing over him as he finally pulls the trigger on that. His relief that he's finally escaping Bret's shadow. Owen shouting that Bret is too selfish as he makes his way to the back. Even Ray Rougeau can't get a word with the Hitman. The Todster after the match backstage with Owen asking why? Owen shouts that Bret's ego is too big. He took Owen's chance away from him. He's going to do things all by himself going forward.
And that's why I kicked your leg out of your leg.
I give it 3.5 stars out of 5. I think it is the best match on the night in terms of storytelling and emotional oomph. Even though that finish is disappointing on one level, it totally justifies Owen turning to the dark side officially and turning on his brother in this really well done moment. Even though I've been watching the descent into madness of Owen Hart completely out of sequence, it's been really fun to watch these and just see how even at this young age, early in his career, how well Owen got it. Like, this storyline was originally pitched by Bruce Hart for he to be the jealous brother turning on Bret, and almost beat for beat. So if it had been Bruce Hart in the original draft, I don't think the story would have taken off as well, because Owen is just such, in this younger brother capacity, doing so well. He just has this storyline down pat, and it works so effortlessly. And I think that Owen in this position works so well, and it makes this match, it's frustrating to watch to see him trying to fight the referee and it ended up sabotaging his own brother inadvertently for him to finally snap at the end in his speech afterward. It's all great stuff. Well, Jim Ross and Gorilla Monsoon have inexplicably taken over commentary for this next match for the IC title as Razor Ramon defends against Erwin R. Shyster. IRS calling out all the tax cheats in Providence as he makes his entrance. By the way, IRS here is just 1 year older than his son Bray Wyatt is today. Really makes you think. IRS has become the #1 contender to the IC title. Meanwhile, Razor walking out without his trademark gold chains. Those were stolen a few weeks ago. Razor took them off at one point to chase after Shawn Michaels, who he's been beefing with over the IC title. He got beat up for his efforts. Meanwhile, during all that, someone had stolen the gold chains, and they were apparently found inside IRS's briefcase. So, will Shyster walk away with both bits of gold tonight? Ramon with the right hands, and it's all over IRS at the start. Razor with a full head of steam, but IRS dodges. Ramon flies to the outside and Erwin takes over. IRS going for a flying nothing, but he dodges the boot and drops onto Razor. It became a flying something. Genius. Erwin with the chin lock with some leverage. Ramon comes back with the right hands. The fallaway slam. Referee gets smooshed. Erwin grabs the briefcase, but Razor thwarts him. He decks IRS with it, but there's no referee. Big back suplex, wants to go for the Razor's edge, but here comes Shawn Michaels with his own Intercontinental title belt. He decks Razor with it. IRS crawls into a cover, the referee counts. IRS supposedly wins and is the new champion, or is he? Earl Hebner comes in and explains to Joey Marella what happened. There are 2 belts in the ring. What? Razor hitting his edge on IRS, who's celebrating in the corner, pins and wins. Good thing the referee didn't have the bell rung after that first 3 count. I give it 2.5 stars out of 5. The match itself was fine. I think these two worked pretty well together. It was good for IRS to keep him busy because it's obviously more the story about Razor and Shawn as they head toward their ladder match at WrestleMania 10. This is how we get closer to that. So good to keep IRS busy, I guess. My one real knock on the match is that we've got 2 matches in a row now with very overactive referees in terms of, the referee in the tag match calling it because Bret was hurt, which how often do you see that sort of thing happen? Then you got this one with Earl Hebner waking Joey Marella up. You gotta have the yin with the yang, I guess. We get a recap of all the Undertaker's one-liners in his build to the match with Yokozuna. They show off the building of that double wide, double deep casket especially made for Yokes and showing off Yoko's supreme fear of caskets. So we go to that match now for the WWF Championship as Yokozuna defends against The Undertaker. The story here is that Yoko's manager, Jim Cornette, made the clause in the contract it's going to be a one-time matchup, similar to Yokozuna and Lex Luger at SummerSlam, for instance. But Paul Bearer, with a bit of a counter move, manager on manager counter, where it's okay, now it's going to be a casket match. And Jim Cornette's freaking out, Fuji's freaking out, Yokozuna freaking out more than anybody because he, the big scary monster, does have this fear of caskets. Even the mention of the word causes the managers to try and protect him. We get the stare down to start things off. Undertaker on the attack makes Yoko fall out of the ring. Taker with current school. Yoko goes outside to grab a chair, but Taker grabs it from him and hits him with it. Get him with a non-folding chair too, sure. Yoko with a handful of salt in the eye. Even that fan on the front row sells it. Nice commitment. Damn, that shot to the back of the head with the chair did not look great. Yoko is the first to throw his opponent into the casket, but can't close it all the way before Taker fights back. Even hits what could best be described as a choke scoop and follows up with a big lariat. Goes to put Yoko in the casket and very slowly gets ready to close it up when Crush, one of Mr. Fuji's other charges, runs in to fight Taker. In come Fuji's mercenaries for the evening. The Great Kabuki and Genichiro Tenju, more on them, but they're taken out. In comes Bam Bigelow, and now the numbers are too much. Paul Bearer is like, why? Until he kicks Fuji in the dick and hits both Fuji and Cornette with the urn. Taker tries to fight back, even dodging a salt bucket attack. Now in comes Atom Bomb and the Candyman Jeff Jarrett. The Head Shrinkers, even Diesel's involved. These guys all take a bus to get here. Paul Bearer takes a bump and now the urn is smoking as if there aren't enough gimmicks in this thing. The smoke is symbolizing Taker's power leaving him. Aw, the beating continues. The only thing missing from this now is a four-post massacre. Taker is stuffed and the lid finally is shut. Yokozuna wins and retains the title. The baddies all have a good laugh over what they've done when suddenly the casket begins to smoke now. Then suddenly we see Taker on the screen in the casket cam. Taker reciting a speech that would be used again on his track in WWF The Music Volume 2 and promises that soon all mankind will witness the rebirth of The Undertaker. Then after some special effects, Taker ascends into heaven where he will stay for several months until he is awakened by Leslie Nielsen. Paul Bearer posing with the urn, then walking that double wide, double deep casket back all by himself, seems to have no problem with it after it took like 8 big dudes to drag it up the ramp. I give it 1.5 stars out of 5. It's another fuck finish on a show that's been full of them, and we're not even really done with the controversial endings to matches yet on this show. I thought it was a slow brawl of a match. It was well executed enough, but it was just not at a great speed, and it made Yokozuna, the whole storyline, I don't think did Yokozuna any favors. He's been a big, scary, unkillable monster pretty much this entire time in his run in WWF, and here he is being deathly afraid of this one thing, and it just made him kind of like a lack of threat. I hate when storylines happen with that like that, where monsters are reduced to, the sniveling, they're their one weakness, and they totally play it up to this ridiculous degree. As far as the, Taker rising up into heaven, it's either great schlock or it's bad schlock, depending on your tolerance level. I'm fine with it because, it fits the mythos of The Undertaker, and considering the number of even more outlandish things he has come back from in his course of his career, this one, by comparison, is not even that bad. So I give him credit for them kind of figuring this way out of it to give Taker time to rest and whatnot. It's one of the more memorable things about this show for certain. And again, depending on your perspective, it's not even that bad. We get our gauntlet of Royal Rumble promos, and then it's time for the '94 Rumble match, where the winner will face the WWF champion at WrestleMania 10. At number 1, it's Scott Steiner. Heh! Number 2, Head Shrinker Samu. Nice leapfrog by Scott early on, but Samu levels him with a clothesline. At number 3, Rick Steiner comes out very slowly to help out his brother. Samu with a hangman spot on his way out of the ring. And at number 4, it's Quang, making his in-ring debut. Quang the Ninja, really Savio Vega in a mask, sprays the green mist at Rick. At number 5, it's Owen Hart, who comes out to a chorus of boos as he very slowly eliminates Rick. Number 6, Michael Barton. Number 7, Diesel. The big man eliminates Bart Gunn, Scott Steiner, and Owen Hart in quick succession. He outsmarts Quang, then takes him out. Number 8 is former WWF champion Bob Backlund, who immediately begins to go for the legs, but Diesel's too strong, throws Backlund out soon after. Number 9, the future daddy ass, and he's gone. We cut to the back and see Kabuki and Tenju assaulting Lex Luger in the backstage area. These two are the mercenaries whose mission it is to keep Luger from winning the Rumble match. More on that in a bit. Number 10, hide your breadsticks and your fuck money. It's Virgil. He is an alternate for Kamala, evidently, and out he goes. Number 11 is the Macho Man Randy Savage, back in action after having spent some time as a commentator. Mach is putting up a fight here. At number 12, it's JEFF, JARRETT. Haha, it's Jeff Jarrett. How is it that no matter what company I am covering, no matter what era we are in, whether it's the past or the present, this man is just always there. Jarrett tries to eliminate Savage but fails. Randy with the receipt. There's got to be some Memphis heat in that exchange somewhere. Number 13 is Crush, Savage's former best friend, now fierce rival. They fight for a bit. Then at number 14, it's Doink, as Savage is dumped out by Crush, and we almost missed that elimination. We'll see them fight at WrestleMania 10. Doink sprays water in the eyes of Diesel and Crush, but the fun and games stop there. It becomes 2-on-1. Number 15, back here, it's Bam Bigelow. The baddies give Bam Bam the first shot against Doink. Bigelow just hucks the man out of the ring. We're more than halfway through now. Number 16 is Mabel from Men on a Mission. Big whoop, there it is, chant for the big man. DiBiase saying for the third time in about 4 minutes how much beef there is in the ring now. Number 17 is Thurman Plug, but you can call him Sparky. He's another newcomer filling in for the 1-2-3 Kid in this match. The future Hardcore Holly came into the Federation recently with this race car driving gimmick, which is based on Bob Holly's real-life past as a race car driver at one point in his life. I love his first vignettes for the company here, where he's inside the track cutting his promos, the cars are zipping by, and you can tell he's really excited to go driving, because the first thing you hear him say as he walks in is, "Oh man, I'm going to start racing soon. I'm so excited to drive my race car." Number 18, the self-proclaimed real Intercontinental champion, Shawn Michaels. They tease a face-off with he and Diesel, his bodyguard, but instead Shawn just lets him get dumped out of the ring. That was weird. Wouldn't he have wanted to have worked together? Diesel actually gets cheered by the fans for his performance though. Number 19, in comes Mo, the other member of Mom. Number 20, making his return to the Federation, is Greg the Hammer Valentine. At number 21, Tatanka Buffalo. He makes Shawn take a big old bump in the early going. Number 22 is the Great Kabuki, known best for his work in All Japan Pro Wrestling, World Class Championship Wrestling. He's been around for a long time. But if you're the sort of person who hates when you see somebody new come on to TV and you wonder why they're not force-feeding you all this information like right from the get-go for the next 10 minutes, you would have not liked the Rumble 94, because the Great Kabuki and Tenju both come out here and they don't say word one about who these guys are or where they're from or what they've accomplished, outside of the fact that, hey, they're Mr. Fuji's mercenaries. They don't even put over the fact that Tenju was at WrestleMania 7. Mabel's gone now, and at number 23 is Lex Luger, the All-American Original, and what a story they have woven with Luger here. So, back at SummerSlam the previous year, he won by countout against Yokozuna, which they made a big old deal of, but that was not a title win, and that was his one and only championship matchup. And so the story was Cornette and Fuji tried to block him from being in the Rumble match, because if he wins and if Yokozuna is still champion, then hey, that would go against the agreement they had. And so it all came down to this public opinion poll. Fans were encouraged to shell out some money and vote in the 900 number opinion poll as to whether or not President Jack Tunney should let Luger be in the match. And after several weeks, justice prevails. Luger is let back into the Rumble match, of which Luger is supposedly very grateful for the fans for helping him out with that one. So Luger shows up here. He eliminates Kabuki. Then Tenju comes in at number 24. Number 25 is up, but no one shows up. Might that have been Bret Hart's spot? Actually, we find out later that was meant to be Bastion Booger's spot, but he didn't show up because allegedly he was sick. Ah well. Number 26. He is Model. It's Rick Martel. Lots of standing and leaning and punching at this point in the match by everyone involved. Number 27. Hey kids, it's Bret Hart. He hobbles his way down the aisle as the fans go nuts for him. Number 28 is Fatu of the Head Shrinkers. Look at that smile he and Sika are sharing. They're just loving this night here. The ring is filled up and everyone is tired. Everybody works together to eliminate Crush. Number 29 is Marty Jannetty. He and Shawn go right at each other within seconds. Finally, number 30 with the shortest buzz sound of the night, and it's Adam Bomb. Bret eliminates sparky, and now we're just focusing on eliminations from here. Martel takes out Valentine, Tatanka takes out Martel. Tatanka's gone next, Bam Bam missing the avalanche, he goes up and over, and Bam Bam's gone. He's actually the Iron Man for this match. He actually stays in this match longer than Shawn Michaels would end up lasting. Hart and Luger work to eliminate Tenju. We have our final four now. Hart, Luger, Michaels, and Fatu. Shawn and Fatu go into opposite corners and both go flying out. We are down to Bret and Lex. They fight for only a moment before both men tumble over the top rope to the floor. So, who won? The refs debate the issue for a moment, then Lex's theme plays, gets a pop, Hebner arguing with Finkel over the call, Bret's music plays and gets an even bigger pop. Now the refs are arguing again. In comes President Jack Tunney. He'll sort this out and he won't even tear his quads to do it. We get some inconclusive replays. Finkel's about to announce it but stops himself yet again. Ultimately, both men are declared the winners and the fans hate that. But which man will face the champion at WrestleMania? It's a shame the triple threat won't be used in the Federation for another 3.5 years. Anyway, call the hotline. I give it 3 stars out of 5. This Rumble match is okay until the finish, which elevates it a little bit. It is a very well executed double finish. And even though the fans hated it and definitely in a head-to-head clearly wanted Bret over Lex here, I think the fact they had him end in a tie was it was very creative. It was different. They hadn't done that in the Rumble before to that point. The match itself was like okay. The finish elevates it a little bit, but still I think fans want to see just Bret win. My grade for the 1994 Royal Rumble pay-per-view is a C. To me, this is definitely one of the lesser Rumble pay-per-views I've seen in history. The tag title match was good. Owen's heel turn was very well executed. And then, speaking of the Harts, Bret and Luger's double elimination to them both winning, I thought was extremely well done, and that is one of the defining moments of the history of the Rumble match. Like, again, that being standing out amongst an otherwise blah Rumble match, I think kind of help that out. But besides that, on this show, things aren't great. Like, all but the opening match has some controversy or some bullshit surrounding the finish where, oh, it's a dusty finish, or oh, the referee finally using his judgment to call a match because someone's hurt too much, and oh, we get all this interference as the only way to keep Undertaker looking strong in defeat, and oh, we got this controversial double finish, the Rumble. It's like there's a lot of frustration I could see just watching this match, and very few clean endings, very few satisfying endings. This show definitely is like kind of Empire Strikes Back of the going from Survivor Series to WrestleMania, it feels. But this was definitely a show in the middle of the road for me. But in 2 weeks' time on the Classic Review, we go back to the Rumbles of old, going to a show that is very near and dear to my heart because it was during my very formative early time as a fan. Very memorable moments on this show. But how well will this hold up in 2022 as I try to reconcile it to what my 14-year-old brain was enjoying at the time? It's the 1999 Royal Rumble. But until then, I'm Brian Zane, and I'll see you next time.